What is going on, guys? Well, we're finally here. We didn't know when we were going to receive our 4.4 update from DICE, but we finally received it earlier today, September 3rd. This update was, of course, to bring out the two new smaller maps of Province and Lofoten Island, alongside increasing our max rank from 50 to 500. We also were to see some well-needed performance improvements when it comes to game crashes and stability fixes. And finally, DICE slides in some surprising weapon balances that we'll talk about here shortly. So let's get started with the two new maps. Unfortunately, we don't have a dedicated playlist just for these two maps as of yet, but I would be surprised if a dedicated playlist doesn't come around the corner sometime soon. For the meantime, the two new maps are available for Squad Conquest and Team Deathmatch. If you want to just go into the server browser and select the Merida map, and that will bring you right before the two new maps for Team Deathmatch. But if you want to get behind the two new maps in Squad Conquest, you have to jump onto the newly added Mercury map for Squad Conquest. Now, of course, we've all had a pretty good look at the two new maps from Gamescom, so I don't want to talk too much about them, since we got a pretty good look at Lofoten Islands, the basically smaller spin-off of Firestorm, and Province, a smaller close-quarter combat urban-style gameplay. But I do want to say, after playing these just right now, especially Province, makes me wonder if they'll ever bring a larger game mode to these maps. And I'm not talking about game modes like Conquest or Breakthrough, but more the mid-sized game modes like Frontlines or Rush. Now, there's no word from DICE at all that they're going to plan on throwing any of these game modes into these maps, but it does have me wonder if these would be feasible at all. And just after a few games, it doesn't feel like that would be a good possibility, since it's pretty much a stretch, in my opinion, that you're going to be able to make these smaller maps even reasonable for gameplay for these mid-sized game modes. So, but that is, of course, just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you'd like to see modes like Frontlines and Rush make it into these maps. You may ask, why aren't I so definitive about having these modes on these maps? And it mainly comes down to the issue of how much I want DICE to work on something that is depleting their resources for a very small improvement. These maps were not intended for larger battles, so if DICE wants to throw even the mid-tier game modes onto these maps, and they turn into a big hot mess, how much more resources are they going to be putting into something that already isn't meant to be played like this? So, to me, it's kind of pointless. I mean, unless the whole community would not complain and just allow DICE to quickly throw these game modes of Rush and Frontlines onto these maps and deal with however they play, then of course I'd be all for it. But in reality, DICE will probably be hearing some negative feedback on something they already have pretty much given up on. So it's a very slim chance, in my opinion, that we'll see even a mid-sized game modes come to these maps. But again, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you guys think otherwise. But let's jump into the weapon changes. We had a little paragraph in the patch notes from DICE that I want to read off. It said, we performed a balanced pass across the damage of our sniper rifles and the recoil applied to our SMGs. Relative to the SMGs specifically, we switched out some of the specializations on weapons which we believe would benefit from an alternative option. In these cases, you should find your SMGs may require a respec, so double check your loadouts before deploying. So basically, all the SMGs besides the Sten has been rebalanced, and the MP28, MP34, and M1920 all need to be reassigned specializations. Here's a list of the 4 sniper rifles that have been rebalanced as well, having increases to their minimum and maximum damage outputs. Now, if that wasn't just it, we also got to see in the patch notes improved hipfire accuracy while jumping off sidearms, SMGs, pistol carbines, bolt action carbines, and assault rifles. Improved hipfire accuracy while moving when using enhanced grip specializations. And check this out, increased vertical recoil of all MMGs for 150% on the first shot, decreasing to the current value starting from the 5th shot. We have further changes coming to MMGs in our next update, says the patch note. So how about that? What a refreshing surprise to see DICE already begun to jump on not just performance issues like stability and bug fixes, but meta issues as well. This actually tells me that DICE has very well shifted its focus, and now they're appearing to make jumps into stuff that we at least, or I at least, had no clue was coming out. At least that's not what we were told, because we were pretty much told that, we were going to see the new maps and new performance updates, and the increased rank from 50 to 500, but we really didn't hear too much about anything else, and I think that might be part of the reason why we saw a little bit of a delay of this update coming out. I think they kind of like snuck this in. They weren't sure if they were going to get in or not, and they got it in. So that to me is really nice. We also see at the very bottom the patch notes that in our 4.6 update that there will be changes to the MMG gameplay, reaffirming these changes again. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what these MMG changes will entail. Just trying them out briefly, they still feel just as devastating as ever, but regardless, it's good to see that they have finally come out. And personally for me, I would like to see hip firing completely removed from the MMGs. I mean, if there's one thing that actually triggers me the most, it's not so much the laying down the ground. Not saying it doesn't need to be, nerfed in a way, but it's running around and hip firing me with one of these guns that actually triggers me the most. So I would much prefer the spread of the hip fire to be much more intense, to make it a rare occurrence to be killed, or at least have my health all the way down to like 2 or 1, and they can nick me with one bullet. Then I'm fine with that. But it's just so much of these close quarter combat gameplays where you see someone with the MG42 and they turn around and they're right there and they kill you. So it's kind of frustrating in my opinion. But again, let me know what you guys think about that and just the whole MMG changes in the comments down below. They've done some general weapon and gadget adjustments as well. There's a full list that you can find in the patch notes that I'll link down below, but some things that stood out is players can now throw their own grenades back, AP mines no longer unspawn after death, and they also increased the AP mines ping sound in an attempt to give players triggering the mines a better chance to take cover. Again, I will link the whole list down in the comments below. There's a full list of various bug fixes as well. But overall, despite this being an update, bringing from my perspective some pretty underwhelming content, it is nice to see DICE really make an attempt to get the game working on all levels. Of course, we'll still have to play more and try everything out to see how well they've actually pulled through. But regardless, seeing the attempt on paper to me is pretty refreshing, and it reaffirms to me that the refocus of DICE has already taken place a while ago. So again, we'll have to find out how well it performs, but feel free to let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. That is it for you guys today. Again, I always appreciate you guys being here. I am Livin', and I'll catch you guys again later.